Hello, I hope you're having a good day. Calvin Simmons again, retired probation and parole officer, state of Florida, uh, coming to you with a new video. This video is titled, What Happens When Probation is Revoked? Now, that's an interesting question, but I think that the first order of business should be what happens when you violate your probation. How about that? Before we get to the revocation question, how about what took place to get you in that situation where you are facing that revocation rather than what happens when it is revoked? Because there are many different options that can take place if your probation is revoked. So I'll start with my question. What happens when you violate your probation? And I have a note here on technical conditions, not a new arrest, but technical violations. Well, the first thing that Simmons would do is have a conversation with you about that particular technical violation that you might have pending. It may be more than one, but I would talk to you about it. If we've known each other for a couple of months, I would have no problem discussing it with you at your job or your house, in the streets, wherever you are when I come to visit you. And you can tell me what you have to say about that violation, and I'll tell you what you're facing. And usually you're not facing much or nothing with me. I'll tell you that. And remember, I'm giving you my experience, my views, the way I handled it. And I might have been an outlier when it comes down to how I dealt with individuals on probation and other street supervision. So I would discuss the violation with you, and that violation might be something like one of these, for example, your monthly reports. You may have missed submitting one. You may have skipped a cost of supervision payment. But the key is we will discuss those. I'll listen to what you have to say. If you've been on my caseload for a year, 2 years, 3 years, I would already know. So when we're discussing it, I would already know that you had a financial situation that came up, or I would already know that you had a illness in the family and that caused you some inconveniences. So I would have already known that, which means you probably wouldn't even have a technical violation if you kept me advised of what was going on with you in your life, when there were some issues that might affect your probation supervision. So we'll discuss it the first time. I'll make a notation. This is me. This is just what I do. I'd make a notation that I discussed it with you. I make a note, and in that note, I would list what you promised to do in exchange for me not doing a violation report. And that would be it. Until the next time. No, Lord. You say there's a next time. And there's usually a next time. Issues and problems, they have a tendency to grab a hold to a person on probation, and they just don't want to let them go. That's something. I can tell you, you get on probation, it seems like just about everybody hates you, and all kind of things add up, and nothing subtracts. It just adds up. So back to, let me stop this rambling. Let me get back. The second violation. Second violation, now we got an issue. Because now I need to cover my butt. Because you haven't covered your butt, which means you haven't covered the Department of Corrections butt, and you haven't covered my butt, which leaves me to cover the Department of Corrections butt and to cover my butt, and the only butt I won't be covering in that violation report is your butt. Actually, I could digress on that because I'll probably cover your butt in that violation report also. That's what I generally did. But it's not designed to cover you because you're supposed to cover you. So with that in mind, I'm going to introduce you to my newest book. The title is Freedom or Jail: Experiences of a Career Probation Officer. And you can look it up on Amazon using my name, Calvin Simmons, without the MA or whatever. Kelvin Simmons. And I'll refer you to page number 47. I'm actually looking at that page in the book. Page 47, and there's a heading there. Bending the rules for the probationer. No. You mean you bent the rules, Simmons, all the time. But anyway, because my objective was for the person to successfully complete their street supervision. Don't place them on supervision with Simmons if you want them to be in a holding pattern to go to prison. Because I did what I could do to help them get through the probation. Because my objective was for them to get through the probation. That was me. So, when you reach the point where I have to do the violation report, I don't have any choice. There are different things I could do. I could do the violation report, and I'll let you know that I'm doing it and why I'm doing it. And I'll explain to the judge what the situation was for you at that time. And I would probably ask the judge to, and I did this quite often, ask the judge to continue you on supervision with no further actions. So you see how I actually covered your butt anyway, even when you didn't cover your butt. Yeah, isn't that something? So the judge would normally agree with that. The problem with that is when you come up and you do it again, now you violated that technical violation, that technical condition, plus 2 or 3 more. Maybe you weren't paying your cost supervision when I knew you had a job and you were making enough money to pay, but you just didn't pay. I mean, some people just didn't want to pay. And I was like, well, you know, you as long as you're able to pay, the state expects you to pay. But if the person could prove to me with their pay, their income and expense information, I would do a waiver anyway. I didn't mind doing them. I could do a waiver where they didn't have to pay. Just thought I'd point that out. So the violation report for cost supervision, that's based on the person having the ability to pay but refusing to pay. Okay, just wanted to drive that home. So I could recommend that the judge continue on supervision, which the judge did many times. The judge may decide that he or she wants you in court, and the judge may instruct me to do an order to show cause. Get you a court date, and you show up in court and you tell the judge why you think the judge should not find cause that you violated your supervision. Now, generally, I wasn't pushing for what you call a revocation. So since I wasn't pushing for revocation, then that was one thing in your favor. Made it easier for the judge to, let me put it this way. If I wasn't asking the judge to send you to prison, it's a good chance the judge is going to agree on a technical violation. It's just that's the way it was. So the judge could ask for the order to show cause, but the judge might decide, nah, I'm reading this report. Because remember, I wasn't going to lie to the judge. If I've already talked to you or addressed that violation on a previous date, I'm going to advise the judge that I spoke to you 1 time, I spoke to you 2 times about it, and this is what you said you were going to do, and you failed to follow through. So the judge will know that. And as the years went by, they knew me. So they knew I was going to tell them what the deal was. But at the same time, I would recommend that you be continued on supervision. It was kind of like I was putting it on their plate. So if the judge agreed to the order to show cause or wanted an order to show cause, then the person just show up on that court date or that order to show cause date. Sometimes the judge didn't want to do that. The judge requests a warrant. So now I have to do the warrant, have a warrant typed up, get the warrant signed, the judge signs the warrant, and now you have to be arrested. Now, even though you're going to have to be arrested on that warrant, what Simmons would do, I'd let you know that I had to request a warrant, and for you to keep in touch with me each week, so or I'll call you. Anyway, I'd let you know when the warrant is active, so you'd have a choice. You can come turn yourself in to me, or when you call me, I'll tell you what's the best day for you to turn yourself in at my office. Meaning, I knew how the system worked. So if I knew that the hearings were held on Thursdays, then I don't want you to get arrested on Friday on my technical violation warrant stuff. I'd rather you go to jail that Monday, which might be the latest date you can go to jail and still get on that Thursday docket. So then you just sit in jail that Monday night Tuesday night, Wednesday night. And when you come up for your revocation hearing, I'll be there and you'll get out. At least 90% of the time. Unless the judge just feel that they've had enough of you. So it actually rests with the judge, but the judge has usually agreed with me. So that's one way. So you show up in court, or you show up for your order to show cause hearing, because you've gotten that far in the what we call the revocation process, but you haven't been revoked yet. So you made it that far. Like I said, I'd let you know the warrant was coming. You're in court now. And that's after I've exhausted my skills and resources. And man, maybe I better leave that for a minute. Let me go to something else. So the different types of dispositions you can expect when you show up in front of the judge for the revocation hearing. Continue on supervision. Yeah, I recommended that most of the time. Add special conditions. I recommended that whenever I felt that that particular judge was not going to fall for just continue on supervision. Oh yes, it pays to know the judges if you're the probation officer, so you know what to put in the report that the judge will more than likely agree with. Here's another one. Re-sentence to probation. If you don't think that's punishment, it is. If you have been on probation for a year and a half, 18 months, 2 years, and you start doing these old silly technical violations, I say silly because you shouldn't be doing them. And I can't save you except to try to get the judge to do something to keep you out of jail or offer house arrest. Well, that's what might happen is you end up getting re-sentenced, so your 5-year probation starts all over again. It's not all that gloomy, because you can straighten your act up, and close to half or 50% of that 5 years new sentence, you could get off supervision. Do what you're supposed to do. And especially if I'm still your probation officer, I'll try to get you off sooner. As soon as you finish all of those conditions you were lagging on, slacking, not getting them done, I'd help you get off early anyway. So the other one is the judge can revoke your probation supervision and place you on house arrest. If the judge did, and that would be my last resort, when I just felt that you had all kind of responsibilities at your house, and jail was going to disrupt your family life so bad, and I know the judge is not going to fall for none of that other stuff. That'll be my last move to try to get you on house arrest. But remember, with house arrest, it's more difficult than probation, because you have those schedules that you have to follow through. You have to be at work, you got to be home, you got to be where you're supposed to be. So that could be a difficult one. The last one, this one was usually on the judge. Florida State Prison. You get revoked, the judge going to announce it. I'm revoking, find you in violation of your probation, adjudicate you guilty if I haven't already adjudicated you guilty, and I'm going to impose a sentence of at the Florida State Prison. Now, if you think that sounds bad, the judge could decide he want to send you to jail, but he might just decide, okay, I'm not going to send you to prison. I'm going to require you to complete 3 months in the Hillsborough County Jail. That's in Florida. And then after those 3 months, you come out of jail and you back with your probation officer. In other words, you still on probation, but I'm adding a special condition. You're going to do 3 months of jail. I mean, that has been done. So my end comment on this is, you want to understand the probation and parole system. Simmons, he explained it to his cases. I made it a point to go out of my way so that the person understood what they were expected to do while they were on probation, and not to violate. Don't go out of your way to violate. But an example is, let's say the person, and this, I'm going to end it with this, the person ends up getting a no valid driver's license arrest. I would have to do the violation warrant or an order to show cause. I could try to order to show cause, and the judge probably won't fall for that, and then I get stuck with the warrant, so the person has to go to jail. But what I would tell the person is, yes, the warrant is coming. That's if the person was able to bond out of jail. Sometimes they're able to get out of jail before the county sheriff's office place that probation violation hold on them. Well, if they are out of jail, what I tell them is do what you need to do to pay off your fines and get your license active. And when they get their license active, I'll ask the judge to dismiss the warrant. That was something I did quite often. And in the interest of keeping this video relatively short, I'm going to end the video with the request that you please like it, my video, and subscribe if you have not already subscribed. Remember, that's what motivates me. Now, if you really want to motivate me to do videos more often, then you'll go to Amazon and look at my book and read the excerpt. And you may find it interesting, especially if you are interested in the content that's in this particular video. You'll read that and probably think, good Lord, how did he get away with being a probation officer and bending so many rules, or bending the rules so many times for people? Well, I didn't get away with it all the time. Sometimes they catch me and they write me up, and that's something the probation officer got written up. I've said this in a previous video, but yeah, I've been written up. Oh, violated the rules, Simmons, and I was okay with that. I just signed the report because I knew it was true. I'm the one that bent the rule, but as I've said previously, they didn't catch me every year. If they were catching me every year, that probably would have caused me to have a behavior change. But I was able to get through my 30 plus years as a probation and parole officer. I even worked 3 years as a supervisor. That means I was supervising other probation officers. And I share this with you. I'd rather supervise people on probation, house arrest, parole than supervise officers. They'll curse you out. They say all kind of stuff to me. I just lean back in my seat and let them vent because I knew they worked a stressful job. So thank you for watching this video. Like and subscribe. Thank you, please.